Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, it's the Ramble. This is Alex Bennett, and we'll be here until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. There she is once again, Ronnie Bennett. Hello, Ronnie.
How do you like my COVID haircut? I can't. It's not a haircut. That's my problem. I can't get a haircut.
Oh, really? Is a COVID hair? Well, then what is it? I guess it is.
COVID, it means you don't get a haircut.
No,
it just goes wild.
Oh, well, then that's just called COVID hair.
All right. I'm not up on the jargon. Apologies.
They say everybody, they say that, of course, the hair is one thing, but they say everybody who is in quarantine, okay, it gets what's called the COVID pounds, the weight you put on. And it's 15.
Oh, no. I've lost 14 pounds.
Well, you have a problem, okay?
Yes, I have a different problem.
At least what you can say is at least I'm losing weight. Anyway,
there were many years in my life when I would have been happy to lose weight this quickly.
Yeah, but anyway, so but there's 15 pounds they call the COVID pounds. Everybody during the winter, and then summer, and the times they've been indoors gains about 15 pounds because you just don't do as much exercise as you once did.
Well, I haven't noticed it about people I know around here. They seem to all be the same.
Yeah, but you live in an area where they can still kind of go out, like they could take a walk and not bump into anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Not necessarily, but...
Yeah. Oh, well, this whole thing is starting to get to me. I mean, you were talking about that you can't wear a mask.
Tell me this every time we talk.
Well, no, but you were telling me that you couldn't wear a mask because of COVID. Because of rather your condition,
because of COVID.
And because you have the COPD.
I can't breathe. I have to keep pulling down to breathe.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I don't have COPD, and it gets to me after a while.
It's hard, particularly depending. Certain masks with several filters, it's really hard to breathe through them.
Yeah, well, I try to take a walk, and I'm just using one of these, surgical deals. And I find after a while I'm panting like crazy because you can't breathe the same way. And I've got to keep it on because in New York, people are everywhere. It's not like I live in the suburbs and I can take a walk down the street and there's nobody going to be there, So I have to wear a mask. And I'm getting to get to the point where I can't stand wearing a mask, so I just don't go out. It's ridiculous.
It's the world we live in. But
Marjorie went out and bought one of these Peloton bikes. And
wow, what are those, $10,000?
No. They're about $2,500. But guess how much she was paying for her gym? She was paying $2,500 a year.
She was going to a gym?
Yes.
During this?
Oh, not during this. Prior to this. And then she got the Peloton so she could do some kind of exercise because the gym was closed down. But she paid $2,500 a year for her gym. So she's actually paid, once a year has passed, she will have paid this thing off because she would have spent that at the gym. So, and she has no intention of going back because she's got the bicycle thing, and then they've got the Peloton. You can go online, and they have exercise stuff you can do with a coach coaching you, and so because she's an exercise.
I've seen the commercials. Yes,
she's an exercise freak, but the Peloton's really quite terrific. I mean, I only use it once in a while.
Where's the card? You got to hold up the sign. You're selling Peloton.
Oh, I see. This episode is brought to you by Peloton. But and there are quite a few other companies now are doing the same thing.
Not with a name like Peloton.
Peloton has done terrifically. They are the winners of the Let's Make Money During COVID race.
hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
For advertising.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's. I think it's pretty terrific all the way around. But then again, I'm not a big exercise guy. Marjorie is. She went to the gym 3 times a week and did this spin classes. And now she gets off that Peloton. She says, I did 15 miles today. And I go, really? Because I can barely eke out, say, 2 blocks on that thing. I
mean, yeah, well.
But you know me.
That way we were matched. Neither one of us are exercising.
Yeah, but you knew me. I was never one for a great amount of exercise. In fact, it's amazing I'm as in good shape and have lived as long as I have, considering I didn't do anything to maintain this body. So.
Yeah, our bodies do, if you don't abuse them too badly, they're pretty good. They last a while.
I would say that the warranty, mine's gone past the warranty date, so is yours. So.
Well, lately, not so easily.
Well, not so easily, but, if I drop dead tomorrow, I'd say I got some bonus miles, so. And you got some bonus miles.
They should be easy. They should be easier than mine.
You got bonus miles, except the part I feel bad for you about is the fact that about 3 years of those miles, you were busy taking care of this problem you have. You know what I'm saying? In other words, it would be nice if you didn't have to go through all you went through the last couple of years and you were just hit by a Mack truck and that was it.
Oh, geez, don't talk like that.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I was talking with my palliative care physician earlier this morning on one of these kind of calls. Mm-hmm. And life is getting very hard for me recently. There's all kinds of maintenance medicines, things I have to do, pain control, breathing apparatus and stuff like that. And it certainly affects various ways I'm thinking about things and end of life and not end of life. And I'm particularly impressed as things get harder almost day by day, how fiercely I still feel life. I didn't expect to feel it so fiercely right now. And
what do you mean by fiercely feeling life?
That the imperative to be alive,
okay,
the imperative to keep going is there. And with all the things that I have to deal with every day to keep, I was going to say body and soul together. I guess it's all leaking out a little bit, but slowly. And I'm surprised at how fierce the feeling is. But on the other side of that is how interesting it is to live through this. If you get hit by a Mack truck, well, you're walking down the street one day, everything is fine. You're on your way home or going to the grocery or to see a friend. Wham, you're gone. You don't know anything. I'm getting to experience this.
Yeah.
The end of life. The day will come when I call up my friend and my palliative care physician and my hospice nurse and say, okay, we're there. It's time to get the band together and do those drugs.
Yeah.
And that day will come. I don't know when that will come, but between now and then, this is fascinating to watch it happen to myself.
Wow.
And how my feelings change day to day. And they go so high sometimes of, I want to keep living. And other days when I hurt too much and it's just all too much, why can't I just close my eyes and stop it all, end it? Why do I have to get that band together and do the drugs? Why can't I just close my eyes? And it goes, those are the two extremes. And mostly it floats somewhere in the middle. And it's fascinating. I'm having, I was going to say, a fine old time kind of following myself along and seeing what I'm doing and saying and feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And if you get hit by a Mack truck, you don't get that. So when I feel lucky that I'm getting this time.
Wow. That's interesting. You know, and but how do you feel physically at this point?
Right this minute, I feel okay. In about, oh, I'm a little late. I'm 20 minutes late for my noon pain pill. What they do is keep pain at bay completely.
Right.
I have others if there's what they call breakthrough pain that is then you take a stronger thing. But mostly it works, and when it stops working, my hospice nurse jiggers around the medications, and she seems to make it work each time. So, you know, I have a couple of bad days a week when I curl up on the bed and whimper a lot until the pain goes away.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a couple of days a week, and so far it's worth it. Um, and I'm very slow. You know, Alex, I lose time. I lose time. I'm very slow in that I have to move slowly because of breathing problems.
Yeah.
And but you know, it's happened now several times that I'm sitting here in my office and it's in the front of the house, and I want something I know is in the bedroom. I've left a book there or something.
Yeah.
So I glance at the clock. Oh, 10:15. So I walk back slowly back to the bedroom. I find the book and I walk back here and I look at the clock and it says 20 to 11. What did I do for 25 minutes? I picked up a book. I don't know where the rest of that time went. And that happens to me a lot.
And you know, this is going to be the stupidest question I've ever asked anybody. Is there anything fun about dying? Or would you say that that was it, this whole idea of this exploration? Because you've always kind of been an explorer. You've always been these, as I call it, the Sacagawea of aging, you know.
I didn't know that. You never told me that.
Well, then you are. You're this, you know.
Traveling across the country.
No, but traveling across the country of old age with your hand up to your forehead, looking into the distance and saying, "We're going this way." Okay,
Yes,
here's what here's what's over that way. You know, and that's what you're kind of doing. One of the functions today is just you doing that. You know.
Well, you know, I wrote a piece on my blog for today, Wednesday, telling the story about a woman I used to work for who I discovered, we didn't much like each other, but we worked well together. And I discovered, quite shockingly, it surprised me, that she was a boxing fan. This is back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that her father had no sons, and he was a boxing fan. So he took her to the boxing matches, and she remained a fan. And I, you know, blurted out at her a terrible thing to do. I said, that's the most boring way to spend an evening I could ever think of. And she said to me, this is one of my great life lessons, by the way, unexpected, came out of nowhere. She said, Ronnie, everything is interesting if you pay attention. And it is true. It has always been true. I mean, none of us have time to pay attention to everything.
And especially if it's something that we think
that you think are just, you know, blind boring. If you pay attention, they become interesting. And so I'm not so sure about fun, although I can laugh about the weird time losses that I'm having. But it's interesting. If it had been the Mack truck, I wouldn't get to see what this travel log is, or this journey is like. And how lucky that I get to watch it in myself. I don't control it, I don't think very much, but I keep an eye on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it interests me.
So are you in your own, shall we say, end of life phase?
Yeah.
Are you an observer or a participant?
Well, now that's another interesting thing I brought up today. Throughout my life at various times, I didn't pay huge attention to it, but bubbled up from time to time, is I never planned my life. You know, you must have known a couple people in school that wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or
Right.
whatever, and they actually did that. I never had anything I wanted to do. And I fell into what I did because of you, because of producing your radio show, and then went on to television and internet and stuff. And that was I had a great career. I had no complaints about the work I did in my life. I had a wonderful time. But now and then in my life, and maybe when you're lying awake at night in bed or something, I don't know when, but you kind of feel, did I really have anything to do with this? I did not plan my life. It just happened to me. When I was out of work, yeah, there were some frantic moments when you needed a job, but sooner or later something dropped in my lap,
Mm-hmm.
and I did a good job that I enjoyed. And sometimes I feel like I had nothing to do with this. Like it was all written down before I got here. I know this is getting into woo-woo territory. And
Yes,
that's
it
not
is
me.
getting into woo territory. Go ahead.
But sometimes, not often, but sometimes it has felt like somebody wrote this all down somewhere, and I'm just reading the script. You know, I don't have a lot to do with it. I'm just doing the show. You know,
Yeah,
getting the words said.
yeah. So you, in other words, you feel as though maybe this whole script was written before you ever got here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes. I mean, it's not a big obsession with me. It's come up a few times in my life.
I mean, it's interesting where life takes us. As you say, I don't think when I met you, you ever expected you'd be a television producer, let alone for a major television personality. You know?
I had no idea. I worked in offices, Alex. Remember?
Yeah,
I typed.
yeah. She was in the typing pool.
You needed a producer, and they wouldn't give you one, so
Yeah,
I started doing the show.
yeah,
When we broke up, I took that with me to other places, and thank God, I had a wonderful career. I enjoyed my career a lot, and bring this full circle back to where we were. And part of it was the kind of shows I always did were like your radio shows. They covered all kinds of topics, and and I never had one interest or two interests in life. I'm interested in everything. As I said to someone, or maybe I wrote it, that all of my knowledge is miles wide and inches deep. I just
hmm
know a little bit about a lot of things and nothing in depth. Um, and and I've had a wonderful time doing that. And here I am again, kind of handed this thing at the end of my life that I didn't expect. And I still don't know what to expect. I don't know how it goes forward from here.
By the way, in case
But I'm
people
sure.
don't know, in case people don't know, she's dying. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yes. COVID and as COVID, wrong. COPD and cancer.
Yeah.
Um, a whole lot of C's there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Um, it and so it's interesting that this end of life, as it's unwinding for me, is how my life has gone, that I didn't even plan.
Yeah.
But here's another interesting thing for me to pay attention to up until the end. And how good is that?
Yeah. Well,
I don't just stop.
yeah. Well, when
I
you
keep
look
going.
back, at it, it's kind of like with me. Sometimes I sit here and I go, "Oh, I wish I were on radio again. I don't have a career anymore." Blah, blah. And then I go, "But the one I had was so exceptional compared to what a lot of people have that I got to realize at a certain time in your life, you're not working anymore. You know, nobody wants you any
And that's
longer."
okay. I think that old age, I think that we lose our energy, even if you don't have a serious disease like me, our energies wane.
Oh God, yes.
The world becomes so different. You and I don't know anything about youth culture anymore. If we pretend to, we are lying to
Can I
ourselves.
tell you this? There's a show on called TMZ, and we watch it every day.
Yes.
I don't know why we watch it, and for the whole hour, Marjorie and I are just looking at each other, going, "Who's that? And
Yes.
who's that? And who's that?" And they say, "And the big star, blah blah blah," and you go, "What? Where did they come from?"
This is exactly what I mean. we don't know anything about American culture anymore that matters. Nothing.
Why is it that happens? You would think that your involvement in culture would maintain itself throughout your whole life, that you would be on, if it isn't Frank Sinatra, now
Excuse me. Tell me about your 12-year-old neighbor who cares about Frank Sinatra.
Well, what I'm saying is that one day it should be Frank Sinatra, and the next day you should be going, well, I mean, I have to say I do like her. You like Lady Gaga, but then you should be able to move over to some guy whose name is only his own.
The world moves on. No. Don't hang on. The world moves on.
Yeah.
And we have to get out of the way because there are new things and changes, and it's all different, and it's going to differently,
okay.
thought about differently.
So this whole Trump thing is a good idea then?
And I thought we could get to the whole thing with
all I'm saying is I understand what you're saying, and I feel very out of touch with what's happening today. And here's where it really gets bad. Remember the days when they say, next week on Saturday Night Live, so-and-so is going to be the guest host. And you go, oh, I'll have to watch that because I like so-and-so. Now I watch that show, and the guest host comes on, and I never heard of the person in my life.
Oh, sometimes I have, but what I've been watching now in the new season, and I realized the last 2 or 3 years, the thing I really, really, really like is the weekend news.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of record it and fast forward the next day to the news. That's what part
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one do you watch? Anyone in particular?
Colin Jost and Michael Shea.
Who?
Colin Jost and Michael Shea.
Oh, there's Sunday. That thing. I was trying. I didn't know.
It's
what you
not
were
Sunday.
thinking.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. It's the news segment. That's how I think
Yes.
of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I said.
They actually have gotten very good. They're
They're
in
wonderful.
fact,
I love them.
last week's show was maybe the worst Saturday Night Live I have ever seen in my entire life. And yet that segment came on and it was good. But the rest of the show it sucked. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
Well, I've never taken well to their skits. I've always thought their skits were shallow or not well thought out. And a lot of that's because you have to do it at the last minute, and you have to make sure that it fits with who the guest host is, who may or may not have the talents you're looking for, and so on. But Michael Shea and Colin Jost are great.
They are. They're terrific. They're terrific. But with Saturday Night Live, people go, it's not as good as it used to be. I said it wasn't even good then.
Oh, I'm not so sure. I've enjoyed it a lot through the years.
I think we think of it more as being a good show just because it's been a part of our lives. It's 50 years old. That show is 50 years old.
That's okay. So are we.
Yeah. You remember when we used to know some of the people that were on that show?
Sure.
Yeah. Michael O'Donoghue, who was one of the writers, and Mr. Mike on that show came over to dinner all the time up in
That
Riverdale.
was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and Michael's been dead for many, 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 many years.
I will soon join him.
Well, and keep.
You see, I do have some fun with this end of life stuff.
Well, stake out the territory because I'll be there soon enough.
I'll be waving for you.
Yeah, and so the only thing that pisses me off about the idea of dying. I have I've always had a great fear of dying, but the thing that bothers me the most is all the people that are going to still be having a good time here while I can't have a good time anymore.
Oh, Alex, no, don't. It's not going to be a good time from here and out if the world lasts at all.
Yeah,
it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, no, the way it's going,
it's going to be a hard life for everybody.
Yeah, but let's find something to laugh about in everything. There must be something funny about COVID. No.
No, I don't think there's anything funny about COVID. Not at all. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
And we've done, well, I don't want to, let's leave it without
The only
going
time
there.
I laughed about COVID is when Trump got it. So, That's that. Hey, listen, I just looked. We've run out of time. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. See how easy it was when we started
We'll do
off?
it
We were
again.
having trouble hooking her up
I'm
and
not
everything.
going away too quickly. We'll do it again.
Oh no, you better listen. I'm planning on having you here. I got you penciled in for the next year.
Well, I don't know about
Well,
that.
you have an obligation, dear. You have an obligation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ronnie Bennett. She can be found at timegoesby.net. That's her blog. It's terrific. She's terrific, and I love you dearly, sweetheart.
I love you too, darling. Take good care.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And I love talking to Ronnie. Just love talking to her. You know, who you know, that's one of the things I'm proudest of, I suppose, in my life, is that the person who was my wife and is now my ex-wife is not an ex-friend. She's a friend, and we've been able to keep that friendship going. There was a period of time when we weren't talking to each other, but now it's a whole different thing. Well, it's time to go to our Zoom panel, our citizen panel. I don't know why I call it the Zoom panel, because we've been calling it the citizen panel for the longest time. And let's see who's here. Let me see here. If we go like this, you get me on Zoom, and then when we admit all, let's see here. Who starts jumping in here? Okay, we got Brian Neary, and there we go. All these people are just popping right in. Wait a minute. There's Brian Neary. I wondered where he was. Hi, everybody. How are you this evening? How are you this evening?
I'm doing great.
I thought you couldn't hear me. Can you hear? Can you hear me, Brian?
No.
No? Wait, then how come? How come you said no?
Read your lips.
And Robert
Hey, look who's there.
Natali, you haven't been with us in about a week. Where you been?
Living life, that's all.
Really? Well, we missed you.
Thank you. I missed you guys as well.
Yeah, because this is a better panel with you.
Wowee.
Yeah.
Don't
wow.
put pressure on me now.
No, I don't put pressure on you. It's a great. I love having all the other people here too that call. In fact, I got a very nice letter today about somebody who said the show is better than it's ever been, and I'm happy to hear that. You know, that somebody feels that they like the camaraderie better than the animosity.
Yeah, it's funny. At work, I got a message from somebody. I recognize the name. I've seen him a couple times. Mm-hmm. And then he messaged me, said, "Oh, I hear you on Alex Bennett all the time." I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One of those people lurking out there, right?
Yeah.
Star.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you all this evening?
Good.
Good.
And anything in the news that is hitting your fancy?
Oh, please.
We had 1 million people vote in Texas yesterday.
Boy, yes. Yes,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's because they couldn't get to that mailbox.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, 1 million people?
Yep.
And you know most of them have got to be Democrats, or at least people voting for Biden.
Standing in line for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Republicans
And
don't do that. What?
They're using like the basketball arenas, right? Also, I heard they had like 300 voting booths in one of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard a great quote from a woman on one of the lines in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Gee, we heard you've been waiting for 4 hours." And the woman said, "Oh, no, I've been waiting for 4 years."
Years. Yeah.
I like that question.
You know, you can't help but hope and believe that the reason all this excitement is built behind people getting out to vote and everything is because they just want to vote Trump out. You know, I really think that's the driving force. I don't think people are going crazy, the Republicans saying, "I've got to go to the polls because I got to vote this guy back in." They want him in, you know, or "I don't want that Biden guy, that communist." Yeah. Did you hear the latest thing? The New York Post came up with something that I don't know, Steve Bannon's been holding on to for a couple of years, and it's something off of Hunter Biden's computer where it's a email or something where he introduced him to a Ukrainian businessman, his father to a Ukrainian businessman.
Burisma.
Burisma. Did you hear about that today?
Yes. Yes.
Fox was making a big deal out of it.
Of course.
Nobody else was. I didn't see it on any other news operation.
Nope.
You know. What do you think there is? I don't think that story is going to hurt Biden. Do you?
No.
Well, I already voted for him.
Well, yeah.
Too late.
But I'm saying
Too late.
also the traction is already there, and this isn't going to suddenly kill everybody's taste for voting for Biden. Oh, I'm not going to vote for him because Hunter Biden introduced the guy from Burisma to him. I mean, he was working with Burisma, so wouldn't it seem logical that he would introduce his father to one of the people he's working with? It's nothing much. Oh, I mean, Trump will latch on to it and, call it some kind of major conspiracy and things like that, but who knows?
Malaria said that Barron had COVID.
Yeah, Barron had COVID, but because he's young, he didn't come down with any symptoms. But she did.
Beautiful immune system. Beautiful immune system he has.
Well, she's a little less obnoxious about it,
Yeah.
She seemed more like, in what she was saying, an appreciative mother that her son didn't get sick, But she said she got quite sick, that she had a temperature and she had aches and pains and all kinds of misery for quite a while.
And Trump just left her at the White House while he went to the hospital then. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, classy guy.
Yeah, that
Hi,
was the one I
darling.
couldn't figure out. Wouldn't you take your wife with you?
Yeah.
But that's what that doctor said. He said, "Oh well, why did you guys bring him to the hospital?" And he says, "Because he's the president." It's like,
Yeah,
Whatever.
but
exactly.
that's his wife. And what if she stays back at the... They didn't think about this. What if she stays back at the White House, does not get the benefit of all these drugs, and drops dead?
Yeah.
He'll deny
Because
it
of-
happened.
Yeah. But,
Fake news.
yeah. I mean, I just, God, do I want this thing to be over with. How many more days do we have left? Anybody know?
20.
20 more
Yeah.
days. Oh, God. 20 days of this misery.
No, that's 20 days till the beginning of everything. This is going to be the start of everything.
You know something?
He's got two and a half months.
I may be gonna have to eat these words, okay? But I think that it's going to be such a rout, he won't be able to even ask for a recount.
I think so.
I think it's going to be an absolute rout. I think he's going to get Texas. I think Texas is turning blue. I think he's going to get Wisconsin. I think he's going to get a lot of the states that they don't know whether he's going to get them or not and whatever. I mean, he's still pretty much got all the states he needs to get the Electoral College. But I just think it's going to be an absolute disaster for the Republican Party. And these guys are going to be running for the exits, trying to find the best position to be in so that they don't get blamed for Trump. They're going to start
projects. The Lincoln Project is embedding all those names in everybody's head over and over again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I think that these guys are going to. It's going to be like I always hear whenever I hear people talking about Christ. Okay, how all these people who knew what was it Judas denounced him or disclaimed him 5 times or something like that. These guys, all of a sudden, the next day, it's going to be Trump who, Donald who. I didn't really like him or support him. I was just there saying that because I had to be a good party stalwart.
Just like Lindsey Graham, right? He said, "Oh, listen to my words." In 2016, you can use my words later if this ever happens again. When it happens again, and he just,
we're using them.
Yep.
Yeah. Read my lips, no new taxes. I think that was the last time something like that came back to bite somebody in the ass. So I mean, all I'm saying is that I see a real route here. I mean, I've been looking at the numbers from Nate Silver, who's pretty good at this sort of thing. I mean, I've finally realized, his site doesn't only deal with the odds on races, political races. He also does sports.
Yeah.
I guess
that's where he started.
As kind of an odds maker?
A baseball guy.
Yeah.
Writing for a site. In fact, he was one of the founders of a site. If you're a baseball fan, it's the only site, in my opinion, called Baseball Prospectus. Mm-hmm. And Baseball Prospectus, what it does is it has absolutely new ways of looking at baseball statistics. It eschews statistics like batting average and ERA and the old classic things, and has new ways of assessing the value of a player. Oh, wow. And Nate Silver was one of the founding fathers of that. Yeah. That's where I kind of came to know him.
Well, Nate Silver, I went over to his, what is it? It's 26?
538.
538 the other day, and looked at it. And it really, really looks pretty good for Biden.
87%.
Yeah, 87% chance, odds,
yep,
that he will win. Okay. That being the case, I don't know what he's going to go to the Supreme Court with. I guess he's going to go with mail-in ballots, but I don't know if the Supreme Court will even take that as a case. And I don't, even if they took it as a case, I don't know that he's necessarily a shoo-in because he gave these people their jobs. So. I think it's going to be a real rout. You don't, do you, Bree?
I don't.
Okay, now
and I've got new information for you. I'm actually trying to find it because I emailed it to someone last night. A new company, I think a research company at the Netherlands, but they have maybe it's Italy. They have an outlet here in Virginia, and they have. Put out new information. What they did was they looked at social media, and that social media claims when you look at that, they do sentiment analysis. It shows a dead heat, and it says that Trump is right there in the thick of things.
Yeah. Nope. So they think he has a chance, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll show you the link when I find it.
Yeah, but okay. But that goes against what most of the pollsters are saying everywhere, that this thing is.
Yeah. So here's the article is the polls are wrong. The U.S. presidential race is a near dead heat. This artificial intelligence sentiment analysis tool says after looking at social media, which is the real poll. The other thing is one thing here's one question that I have, and that is. Why is it, and do you think that Joe Biden could get rallies like Trump gets regularly all the time?
Is that
why
matter?
Is that?
Does that matter?
It does matter, and I'll tell you why. People get excited about Trump. They get excited for him.
No.
And
I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I think you're barking up the wrong alley. You're not looking at Trump. You're looking at the reason why people show up for an entirely different reason. They've come to see a comedy act.
Yep.
They haven't come to see a politician. Yep. What, Robert? Your head's going.
Numbers have been my life for the most part. You could say the same about Metallica, but it's the same 18,000 people in each and every town they go to. That doesn't make them widely popular. It's the same people over and over. A. B. if you look at the camera shots and you take a look at the rest of the audience, it's tightened in on the people behind him. You don't see ever a full shot that shows thousands and thousands of people.
Well, wait a
It
minute.
just
Now,
doesn't-
Kevin Stopper sent me a photo yesterday of one of those Trump up there with the people in the background, and there's this one black guy there that he says has shown up in at least 10 of those rallies in the background. The same guy.
Same guy.
Guy's crazy too.
Yeah. So that kind of makes your supposition have legs. Charlie and then Mr. Larkin. Yeah.
I just want to point out that Bernie Sanders had huge rallies, huge rallies, 30, 40,000 people screaming their heads off, and Biden wasn't even close.
That's because the will of the people was thwarted. And this gets back
it's
to
because Biden is more important.
No, but
Why-
also,
why is Kamala
also,
Harris
wait a minute.
vice
Hold on a
president?
second. Also, you got to remember, Joe Biden is not holding large rallies because he considers them unsafe for the people who attend them. Let me finish.
that's why I said hypothetically, if the COVID wasn't here, do you think he would get, as big a rallies?
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? He might get
I don't
he
think-
might get bigger. I mean, because there's such a groundswell of people wanting to support this guy, but they
But
can't.
here's another question.
They can't go to his
Why-
rallies. They can't go to his rallies.
Why is Kamala Harris the vice presidential choice? Did Democrats get to vote on that?
No, they never do. Neither do the
No,
Republicans.
that's a flaw in our system. If you don't see that as a flaw, the parties we don't have a voice.
How
Trump
far
is the
down?
only
Well,
thing.
you don't. You're
Trump is
not
the only
voting,
way
right?
we don't have a voice
Yeah.
because
How far down do you want to vote? How
It
far
shouldn't
down
have
the
been by-
levels do you want to vote?
Yeah, but how
It should
far?
not have
How
been
far?
Biden.
Definitely
The
for
fact that
vice
it's Biden is because we have a system that's broken.
They have
And
all
it's that
this.
same
But wait a
system.
minute. Hold on, Bree. This has been ever since I've been a kid. This is the way they went. The guy got nominated for president, and then he usually waited till the day he got confirmed, and then that night he announced who his vice presidential candidate was going to be. That they always left that up to the presidential candidate. Wait, they left it up to the presidential
With a
candidate.
bachelor's
Will you
degree in
let me
political science.
finish, Bree? They left it up to the presidential candidate because they wanted him to have someone that he felt he could work with. Okay.
Okay, so originally it was whoever came in second place would get to be the VP. I mean, going back to like the 1700s in the first couple of elections, because wasn't one where Thomas Jefferson was VP because he lost to John Adams or something like that? I don't know.
I don't know that they necessarily picked the president in the same way. Did they have full elections in those days where the populace voted, or was it like did
No.
Washington first get made president by the
You
first
had to be
Continental
you
Congress?
had to be a landowner or something like that to
Yeah,
vote.
yeah.
But whoever came second would be the VP. But they don't do that any. I mean, obviously they
Some
don't do that
states
anymore.
didn't even vote for president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Biden, if he had a rally across the street with 10,000 people, I don't think I would go. I mean, because of COVID.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that Trump is holding these, what they're now calling
Super spreaders.
No, but no, wait a minute, they have a term for it. The president gatherings. In fact, did you see that sign? I can't remember what city it was in. It was one of those rotating signs where it changes from, every minute or so. And then one of them comes up, and it's a big red sign that says Trump super spreader event this way. And there was an arrow pointing to it.
The funeral parlors are loving Trump when he comes to town. Oh, he's coming to town. We got to have business.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, they've shown that these are super spreading events.
Yeah, I mean, and they're crazy enough to go.
And Biden isn't ready to do that sort of thing. He is very careful about it. In fact, I notice even for effect, he's now wearing a mask even when he's giving a speech. You know, just to look different. Yeah, John Larkin and then Robert.
Look at the states that he's doing these rallies in too. You would think he doesn't need to go to those states.
Right.
You would think he's got those easy. But
He's got
Florida, what was it? Florida, Iowa. I mean, fuck, come on, Texas. He goes to Texas. Come on, he's obviously playing defense.
No,
he's gonna get creamed.
Well, he knows he has a chance of losing Texas, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
And he has a chance of losing Wisconsin and Iowa. Iowa, he won by 10% in the last election, and they say he may lose Iowa. Looks like Lindsey Graham's in a neck and neck fight for his life, where he is. I wish I could say
if he loses Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter. He's gone. It's over.
Yeah.
You know,
Robert.
Hey, John, tell everyone the story of who Dr. Johnny Bananas is. I happen to know.
I saw that on TV. I wasn't paying attention. Who was it? Some guy that signed on to
yes,
herd immunity policy or something.
I can explain it. Here's the deal. The deal is that the Trump administration is now quietly signing on to the idea of herd immunity. That this is what they're going to go with, but they won't say it publicly, because to say it publicly is to admit that there'll be a million deaths or whatever, some gross number.
Yeah.
And what they did was he didn't get any advice from the CDC on this. He didn't get Fauci. He didn't get, Scarfy. But they looked at a list of the people who signed this decree, and one of them was a guy named Dr. Johnny Bananas. There was another guy named Dr. Person Fake Name.
That was Larkin.
I think I went to high school with him.
Yeah, I think I went out with his sister, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Son of a bitch.
Well, one of the things, Alex, is there's a saying, an old joke. It says there are two kinds of people in this world: those who believe there are two kinds of people, and those who don't. And it's funny because the human mind always goes towards these dichotomies, where complex thinking is more needed. So what happens is we have a Democrat and a Republican, and so people decide they like Biden and they hate Trump. And so anytime you raise an issue, they immediately close it out. It's like, no, we can't discuss that, because if we discuss that, there might be something that we kind of agree with, and we can't do that right now. We can only think Burger King, McDonald's, Pepsi, Coke, and it's wrong, and it's the reason why our country suffers, because people now are grasping at Biden for this the old system, because the Trump tried and it didn't work, but it's more complex than that. And I think that I have a valid point that about the way that Kamala Harris was picked. I think that that's a valid argument.
Well, I mean, it may be a valid argument, but it's not the way we've run things for the last 100 years. So I mean,
Chicago. I mean, the ways that they picked changed.
What do you mean,
the Republicans?
What do you mean, Chicago? What did you bring up?
Do you think that in 2016 that Hillary Clinton would have been the nominee if the Democratic Party would have stood back and said, "Let's let the people decide"? I don't think she would have been. I think it would have been Bernie Sanders.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It was the super electors.
I don't think so. I think that Bernie Sanders had a very loud appeal among a group of people, but I don't think he had the kind of appeal that you need to win an election. I don't think she had it either. I think they just didn't have any decent candidate to put up there who could beat Trump. Biden has become a better candidate than I thought he would be. Okay, he has just been amazing in that he has been spot on, because if you listen to him, every speech he gives, he's talking directly to the people, and that I'm here for you, and it's an amazing kind of appeal that he's created for himself.
But what's interesting is you don't know the stories that I tell you, the things that he does on the campaign trail. I bet you I could tell you 2 or 3 things right now that he's done that raise questions, you wouldn't have heard of them because you drowned it
and
out.
I bet I bet you every one of them is what you would call a gaffe. And you can have all the gaffes you want. I mean, maybe he says, I'm by accident, I'm running for Senate. That's one of the things. Oh, hey, we can't elect him now because he accidentally said he was running for the Senate. No, he didn't lose 210,000 lives in this country because he was out to lunch. Okay,
Dan Quayle had a lot of gaffes, and people made a lot of fun of him, and I'm sure you know all those.
Well, of course, you know.
Yeah, but
so it's not fair.
Well, what is that?
Yeah,
what is that
but
sound?
Bush cleaned up though.
Whose thing is what's ringing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever happened? That was funny.
Yeah, but
nothing here.
You know,
actually, I'll tell you something. Here's one way to look at it. If you're voting for Biden, you must hate him. And the reason why, anybody who'd want to be president right now is a masochist, you know, because being president at this time is just, it's ridiculous. Anybody who would want that job.
Trump is not a masochist. He's a sadist.
Well, you can say the same thing for Lincoln. You know, it wasn't a good time to be president when Lincoln got elected.
and Obama too. When Obama bailed out the car companies, he had to do a lot of stuff that I'm sure he wouldn't want to do when he starts being president. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you mean, but I know what I have to disagree with Brian. Trump, in my opinion, let's be honest. In Trump's wildest dreams, he never would have thought he'd be president. How could anybody predict this? I mean, if you're the president of the United States, you're an elite company. That's a job that nobody can. Alex, if you would have told me 20 years ago Donald Trump would have been president, you would have thought I was insane to say that.
Yeah.
You'd have been a Simpsons writer.
But you see,
he doesn't deserve the job. He's in over his head, it showed.
Well, also,
that's what it is. I think when he closes the door, he's like, how the fuck did I get here?
Well, also, it's the mediaization of America that's taken place here and that made him possible. You know, before it, because I'm going to have to say this. I sound like an elitist when I say this, but Americans, by and large, are pretty stupid. You know, and they think they can't tell the difference between real life and reality television. And they couldn't tell the difference between Donald Trump, the TV star, and Donald Trump, the guy who was running for president, saying, I know how to solve the economic problem in this country. When, in fact, he really didn't know how to. You know. So, I mean, but people went, hey, that's the guy on TV. That's the guy who says, you're fired, you know. Yeah, he could be president. Sure, why not? Why not? Look at what he's doing. He doesn't know how to be president. He doesn't know how to care about being president.
And
our system allowed him to be.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, though, Bree. If you really think about it, most presidents should have a grasp of and a working knowledge of the law system. He's not even a lawyer. Basically, he's being exposed just when he opens his mouth. He is not qualified for this position.
When I was growing up, they used to say, "Well, this is a country where anybody can grow up and be president." Well, I guess we just proved it, didn't we?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't know that we want everybody to grow up to be able to be president. I think we want the most accomplished people for that particular job to become president. I mean,
like you said, Alex, he was never a senator. He was never a governor. He was never a mayor. He never ran anything other than failed businesses.
He couldn't, except failed businesses, exactly.
Which he was still waiting on the tax for 4 years.
Yeah.
Based on that, I would have been more comfortable with Pete Buttigieg as the vice presidential choice. I think that he's proven he's just an intellect. You know, he's on the ball. He's sharp-witted, and I think he got to where he got because he's smart, not because of who he had a relationship with or who he, you know, or his race. I think he really did it. I would feel more comfortable with him as vice president.
I can agree.
Just my opinion.
Well, I would too, but I wouldn't be satisfied that he would help the ticket. Okay, at this point,
there'd be no evangelicals or any Christians that would vote for that ticket. You know?
I think the only way I think, quite frankly, of all the people that was running, he was the one I liked the most. I thought he was smart. I thought he was sharp. I thought he had the right things to say.
So look, what kind of a system do we have where the people who get eventually on the ticket are not the ones that we think are really the best.
Listen, look, we can go back to when I was born, and they used to hold these conventions, and they were all brokered at the conventions. You know, they all made bargains in the back room, and the one who did the best bargaining became the winner. Okay, it's been no difference. You see, what you're doing is you're looking upon the individual parties picking their nominees as part of the political system, and it really isn't. It is simply a function of the parties. You know, I mean, I often have argued that the parties should be paying for all the primaries because the only people that it serves are these parties, you know, to find out who their nominee is going to be. Why should we be paying for it? Yes, Robert.
I think we're also failing to remember that in many cases, in fact, most cases, vice presidential candidates are chosen for reasons other than their qualifications to be president. Like it or not, they're chosen because they satisfy certain wings within the party, or they're chosen to achieve some kind of geographical balance,
or in this particular case, racial balance. You know,
and here's where we have a problem. Then here's where we have a problem, because Biden very likely may not serve those 4 years. There's a possibility, not only because of age, but because we have a global pandemic. We have a disease that could easily take someone out, you know, in their elderly years. So I think that it matters more this election.
To you, you're the only one speaking against Harris right now.
He's had a hard on for Harris for the longest time, and I wish it were a good hard on, you know, and for all the right reasons.
Really,
I would love Harris to be the governor of Pennsylvania, but not the president of the United States.
Let me ask you this: how experienced for the job was Donald Trump?
To the degree that the media creates that position.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You're talking about competency to take over the job. What made him competent to be president of the United States?
The fact that he had to deal with the media in New York.
That's
he's a businessman.
That's not what I'm saying to you. You're talking about running a country in the middle of a COVID crisis, and you're talking about somebody having the kind of experience it takes to be able to handle something like that. My same question to you would be about Obama. When Obama became president, he had only been a senator for 2 years, and one of those years he was running for president.
He had been a lawyer.
No, he'd been a lawyer. Wait a minute, but I'm talking about a political professional who could take over the reins of government. He had to learn it like anybody else. The only people that have been good presidents from the get-go have been people who've been governors, because running a state is running the United States in microcosm. Okay, you have all the same things you need to know: budgets and the police and
executive branch.
Yeah. But in fact, senators make lousy presidents. You know. So
yeah.
You know, but
and we're going to get one.
The governor.
What? No. You're about to get a former vice president.
Yeah.
Okay, and you want to talk about experience for that job? He was in there every day of the week with Obama, and he had a deal with him that if he ran for vice president with him, he would not be left out of any meetings. Okay, so he was there for everything. So, Jeff, you had your hand up. Jeff had his hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the president, one of their big jobs is to communicate to all of us frequently. Yeah. And not only that, to make it so we can understand what he says.
Yeah.
That's what Obama was good at.
Yeah. But here we have a crisis. Unlike any other we've faced, I think. I don't even think a war has wars didn't come to our front door. Okay, they were fought somewhere else. This war is being fought here. The people, the troops that are dying are here. You got to remember, 210,000 people so far have died, maybe more. I don't know what's the total today. I haven't looked.
216,000.
216,000. Do you know how many died in World War II?
Less.
About 500,000. We're going to get to 400,000 before this is over. We're going to have we've already lost more people than we lost in Vietnam 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people died in the Spanish flu?
Of the Spanish flu? Well, worldwide, that was 50 million, I think.
Really?
Worldwide, yeah.
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 Wow. And and the population was much smaller.
It was such a bad flu that it stopped the war for a while.
Yeah, they had to pause the war.
They had to pause the war for the flu, and then they got over it, and but and that flu was in some ways far more manageable. It just killed everybody really fast, and we didn't have the medicine to fight it.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we had the same strain today of the Spanish flu and it showed up, it would be a bad cold in the Bronx, because we know how to handle it. We'd have the medicine to be able to handle it too. But what I'm saying is that where's the school to learn to be president? And I think Obama wasn't ready to be president, but he became president. And in his second term, I think he finally learned how to be president. And he kind of learned how to be president at the feet of Joe Biden, who was there helping him along the way.
Let's take a look at what Obama was able to accomplish. Now, I'm not saying Obama, but when the Senate is held by the Republicans, so what's going to happen is, even if Biden becomes president, what will he be able to do if the Senate stays Republican? And now the Supreme Court is fully Republican.
I wouldn't count on that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count on that. What can he do if he's got the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the presidency? What can he do then?
A lot of things.
Declare war a lot easier.
Oh, stop.
Stop. What are you trying to be, the new Phil? Come on.
Were you just throwing shit at the wall tonight, seeing if something maybe sticks? Bree, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the right explanation. You're coming up with conspiracy theories and gaffes and what part of the shit you're throwing do you expect us to stick?
What's the conspiracy theory that I'm floating?
Oh, Bree,
starting a war. Wait. That's a conspiracy.
Starting a war the night of the election. He's going to not leave office, and he's just going to maintain his seat in the White House. You want a list of conspiracies that I've heard?
These are not conspiracies. These are topics for conversation.
And the lighting, we can't see your face. It looks more suspicious.
What's the name of that? What's the name of that? What's the name of that?
There's a conspiracy of my lighting.
Wait a minute,
Who are you?
What's the name of that fringe group we got going for us now? The
Poor Boys?
No, the other. What? QAnon. Yeah.
I don't even know what all those stupid acronyms
are. What I'm saying is you're kind of sounding like QAnon here with all these, and then of course, what if we are attacked by aliens from outer space? Is he the president you want in office when that happens?
You got to talk to who's the Utah senator that is funding that? Harry Reid.
Funding what?
Harry Reid was some
UFOs. The aircraft carrier off of Southern California. They still haven't explained those encounters.
Oh,
I think the world in this flu season is starting to come up already. I think the world's going to be so inundated with COVID and flu issues the next 8 months that there's going to be no talk about anything else but the economy.
I'm planning
this big second wave is coming, and we've always said this wave's going to come. Yeah. And unfortunately, because we didn't nip it in the butt the last 3-4 months ago when we could have, and then waited for this wave to come up and been ready for it, we're unprepared again. And this is going to hit very, very hard.
And you know something? Marjorie and I have decided we're not leaving the house now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Everybody out there gets sick. Do not come to my house, right? Yeah. Because, I mean, it's trying to grab hold here in New York, but we're being very proactive about it. Okay, and if it weren't for the yids in Brooklyn, we wouldn't have the problem we got right now. But those guys, they're crazy. They're nuts.
They wouldn't want to see God.
No, what they're doing They don't understand this. And what they're doing is creating their own self-inflicted Holocaust.
That's right.
You don't want to listen.
You know, they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They want to fight it. They went to court to fight Cuomo. We don't want to have to limit the amount of people that come into our shuls. Well, screw you. Yeah, Robert.
In Jersey, we have a community named Lakewood, and Lakewood is Hasidic Jews, much like Pearl River, New York, where it's a large enclave of Hasidic Jews. And so I see these people, these community leaders from the Hasidic community, barking about their freedoms being taken away, wearing masks. All the while they're talking about this, they're wearing a yarmulke, which to me,
it's just a mask. It's just a mask that's 6 inches higher. Yeah.
All you have to do is move it down.
Yeah.
The solution would be there.
I mean, I don't get how it's violating their civil rights. You know, no, not wearing it is violating my civil rights.
Yeah,
is wearing a seatbelt, but as a populace, we've decided that it's the right thing to do.
Hey, listen,
not driving while you're drunk.
Can I go to your Orthodox synagogue and not put on a yarmulke?
Yeah, we'll try to tell them to eat pork.
You won't let me come in. Yeah, you won't let me come in without a yarmulke eating a spare rib. Come on, you know. I mean,
the world is upside down.
I mean, there are rules, and you have to abide by them. And just because you're a religion doesn't make you not have to abide by the rules of safety created by the society. You know. It's not like, it's not like Hitler. We're not rounding him up and putting him in concentration camps. In fact, quite the opposite. That would be a super spreading event.
That's what Trump's trying to do.
Huh?
There's so many people in the United States that walk around without wearing masks all the time.
And that will continue.
And they're not
That's not going to
religious
change.
Jews.
But how it ever became a political issue is beyond me.
I think, like you said, it was Trump not wearing it in the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's not a political issue. It's you don't want to die? Wear a fucking mask. You don't want your neighbor to die? Wear a fucking mask. I just got demonetized.
Right.
But wear a mask.
So do you think that Biden will get people to wear masks?
I think
not at this
That's
point.
his plan.
Well, if the president were wearing a mask at all these rallies, okay, he would be encouraging people and not letting anybody in who wasn't wearing a mask, then he might be setting a good example. But he's not. He's letting anybody in. Those people there, you look at the group, maybe there's one guy wearing a mask, and that's about it. And you go,
Somebody
come
was
on.
there.
Huh?
Well, you
Somebody
should be
was there,
happy
they
about
said
it.
they put people with masks, or they have masks for people behind Trump. But they said on the other side that people, it's like 25% was wearing them.
Of course.
I mean, it's just absurd how any of this has become political. This is something that we are doing to try and save our lives,
But you know what? It's like when Trump said at the last debate, when he made that snide comment about Biden. Even when Biden's outside, still got a big mask on. Yeah. What's wrong with that? I look at him like, are you mental? Really? What's wrong with it, idiot? It's like he's just a bully.
Well, as a president, among your other jobs, besides hopefully taking out the garbage, is to set an example to other people, to be an example for other people.
Exactly.
And he didn't have to do anything during this COVID crisis except one thing: wear a mask and tell people to wear one. And by that very action, we probably would have 100,000 less deaths right now.
Yep.
On MSNBC, they spoke to Trump supporters lined up for a rally, and they asked the supporters, would you wear a mask if Trump asked you to? And they said, absolutely, we'll do whatever the president says.
Yeah.
So
I think there was a point where he did say, wear a mask.
Too late.
It was too late, and it didn't carry with it the weight he should have carried. It was like begrudgingly he was saying it.
He'd say, sorry. wear a mask once in a while, but you don't got to do it all the time. That's how he was.
Yeah.
What he opts for usually is the victimization. He wants to have his voters see it as it's us against the world. Look what they're making us do.
Yeah.
Therefore, he propagates the theory that there's this oppressive force that's making them go beyond their rights and so forth. He loves that shit. It's effectively his base.
Yeah.
Just like that bullshit.
Women-
Oh, I saved your neighborhoods. Hey, fuck
Yeah.
you. Saved your neighborhood from who? Who the fuck you talking about? You know? It's like,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
what do you think's going to happen? So they're doing two town halls against each other for the next instead of the next debate.
good, whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He don't want to debate. He doesn't want another debate with.
Because he can't answer any questions.
Yeah, he's a moron.
But I wonder how the ratings are going to go. That's going to.
Well, I think he'll get the higher ratings. I really do. I don't think Biden is a rating getter. Okay, but that doesn't mean he's not going to win an election.
Yeah, most of the people watching that, town hall for Trump, it's just, the same people that are, or most of them are the kind of people that will stop and look at a car crash.
I can't remember what president said that they didn't used to do debates. I think it was Eisenhower. They didn't do debates before Eisenhower, and they were asking Eisenhower if he would do a debate, and he said no. He said, what a useless exercise that would be. And it wasn't until we did Nixon Kennedy,
That's the one
that it became something you did all the time. Because
the Lincoln Douglas debates.
Well, the Lincoln Douglas debates, but was Douglas running for president at the time, or was it just a debate?
I think they were running for
Senate. Yeah.
But do you know what?
Won, right? Did Douglas won? Right?
What the scheme was? One candidate spoke for an hour uninterrupted, followed by 90 minutes for rebuttal uninterrupted.
Oh my God.
That's a debate. What we see on TV isn't a debate. It's just two campaign speeches. They're bullshit.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch them.
And so when Trump doesn't want to participate in it, how do you feel about that?
I don't really give a flying rat's ass.
Well, I mean, I think that he doesn't want to do it because he figures at this point, and he knows he does internal polling, and the internal polling's got to be frightening the crap out of him. Okay, even if they're trying to skew it his way, okay, it's got to be frightening him. And I think he feels that a debate, what could it do to help him? Nothing. Okay, what could a town hall do? Maybe it could help him. And then if he gets higher ratings than Biden, he can say, I got more ratings than Biden. So at least he would have some kind of bragging rights. So really, it's in his best interest not to debate right now. Plus, he's not a debater. He's an interrupter.
Yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't want to do a debate based upon the new rules of the people who are holding it, who say they're going to cut his mic if he doesn't shut the fuck up.
Oh, I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
I want to see him go.
I'm voting for trap doors. The moment somebody interrupts,
boom,
they pull a switch.
Boom, he's gone.
Either that, or let's do what they do on Nickelodeon. How about sliming them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you don't shut up after your time's over, you're going to get slimed. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Bree, when you say, what use are these debates? They have no function, really. I don't feel I learn anything out of them. I don't feel, the lead up to it is like the lead up to a football game with the guys sitting around there saying, well, if he does this in his defense and he does that, then maybe they can win the And they do the same thing. They Monday morning quarterback the debate, and then the debate happens, and then afterwards they give you the same kind of wrap-up that they would give you on a sports show. And that's not American politics, and that's not what we need to know. Yes, Robert.
It just came up on MSNBC that Trump is lauding his latest poll numbers. That he told his audience tonight that he loves his latest poll numbers. It reminds me.
Did he say what they were?
No, I didn't.
No.
I only saw the crawls. I don't have the sound on, but it reminds me of a quote I heard in grad school. Apparently, there was a political scientist back in the 1800s who once said, "Many people use statistics in the manner that a drunk uses a lamppost for support rather than illumination."
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at Drudge. Now, Drudge doesn't like Trump anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the you have to understand that. But for instance, his headlines: Trump headed for trouble and not changing course, struggles to mount clear closing argument. A little bit concerned, it says. Rank and file Republicans confident as ever of victory. Well, they're you know.
Biden has raised like 383 million, the most for a presidential candidate in a month. Again, pointing out the flaws of our system. I think we should give each candidate, 5% media's time, and then turn that money over to places where it's really needed. Maybe to organizations or groups that are feeding vets or we have such the wrong priorities about where we spend our money, and it's always about who can raise the most money and spend the most ads, and it's really ridiculous.
His headlines here: 15 million already voted, record turnout alarms Republicans, lines as far as the eye can see, Biden +7 in Georgia. When did you ever think that was going to happen?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And by the way, that's kind of unusual. The Republicans crying that the Democrats have raised more money. That's a new one.
Look at what he's got there.
A new Trump Tower.
Trump Tower.
He won't go to jail.
2 months.
We have a tradition in our country that the president or vice president, even when they're criminals, they essentially get pardoned. It's too much of an embarrassment. It's just the way it's done.
By the way,
we don't care about embarrassing him.
Yeah.
Boy,
We don't care at all.
That's a whole different story.
There's something in the air tonight. I feel wheezy here. Anyway, here's the deal. I was passing by Trump Tower yesterday, because I do on the way to my dentist, driving over the Black Lives Matter that's written there. And it's like an armed fortress around Trump Tower. Fences and so on, and streets you can't go up and down. I mean, it's incredible. And since he's been president, I think our cost is something like $200,000 a day. Am I overestimating that, Robert? Am I right on that?
Oh, I've heard a figure in that neighborhood.
$200,000 a day to protect that edifice. All right. Thank God he's no longer going to be president. We can save how many millions of dollars here in New York City and use it somewhere else rather than protecting a piece of property. Yes, John.
And who's going to buy that thing when it gets foreclosed on him?
Yeah.
That's going to be so funny. What are they going to do with that fucking thing? Tear it down?
Actually, it's a very impressive building. To be
It's
honest
ugly as fucking hell.
I don't know that it's ugly. I think it's,
I've been in it. Have you ever been in that thing?
Listen, we're building uglier buildings in this town now. We got these what they look like, how can I describe them? They're pencil buildings.
Yeah.
They look like pencils on the skyline.
Yeah, they're weird looking.
And then there's another one that goes up, straight up and down, and then it has a deck coming out of it.
Yeah.
It's made of pure glass, so all you can see is 400, 500 feet below you, right? Yeah. And it looks like a duck. I mean, come on, you want to talk about ugly buildings? Trump Tower is a monument to aesthetic taste compared to these things.
No.
Trump may or may not go to jail, but if I were him, what I'd be worried more about is that guy named Igor with the nose that goes this way that shows up looking to collect on his debt.
Yeah.
That's the guy I'd be afraid of.
I'm sure he's done what he needs to do to rectify this.
We'll see.
Well, there's only one reason why Trump hasn't been willing to reveal his taxes, because he doesn't want to show everybody that he's not a billionaire. Yeah. He's made a career out of being the prototypical billionaire and putting his name on buildings and franchising the name out to these buildings. Charlie, you've been quiet tonight. Anything to say there from Texas?
I don't think I've been quiet. I've been piping up quite a bit.
Well, yeah. Well, I want to make sure you were getting yourself in there, because I know you're kind of a nice guy, and you don't like to interrupt. And the same thing with Jeff. I always call on Jeff every now and then because Jeff is really, when he really has something to say, he has something to say. But, and Tony, what?
Sometimes.
Did you see the latest from the Ice Cube was helping some White House initiative, and he's getting blasted on social media for helping.
Yeah. I think it was that Trump thanked him for something that he didn't really do or something like that. I don't know. Check that story out.
Why? It's something that he didn't do, and now he's getting blamed for having something to do with Trump.
No. Trump claimed he sent out some tweet. He's, I want to thank Ice Cube for helping me out some kind of project, and I don't think Ice Cube had anything to do with it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's using everybody to endorse him who isn't endorsing him. Like Fauci is really mad. Yeah. Really mad because he
rock bands are mad that they keep using their music.
Yeah. Well, finally he's down to using YMCA by the Village People, and he doesn't even understand what the song's about. Okay. Yes, Jeff.
I saw Harris speaking today.
Yeah.
And you know what? She's got a very good sense of humor. And I was so surprised that it would be that good. But the first question is somebody asked her at the end, did you actually see the bug on the vice president?
Yes. Yeah.
She absolutely cracked up.
Boy, would I like to be a fly on the head instead of a fly on the wall.
Did you guys see the Saturday Night Live thing?
Yeah, it was pretty clumsy. I thought that was the worst Saturday Night Live I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That show the other night. Nothing was funny except for the news segment, and even that was kind of soft. And now you've got a poster for her now.
She made that.
Adrian for president.
She made that today. We got all the letters, and then she went and painted the background and did the little birdies. And
did you really paint that, Adrian?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's nodding yes for all the people just listening to the audio.
Yes.
Wow, that's really nice. So we can use that every time now, right?
She wanted to show everybody, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
She looks a little tired right now. Are you tired, Adrian?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you're getting sleepy.
You're getting drowsy. You're getting drowsy.
Okay, say good night.
Good night, Adrian.
Good night, Adrian.
No, don't touch the
What? What did she say? Oh, wow.
She muted it.
Well, there's our theme anyway.
We've got protests in Thailand. If you're looking for some other news to watch, you can read about the Thai protests.
Okay. Anyway, hey, listen. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian and Adrian. And thank you to Charlie Wallace. And thank you, Robert. Great to have you back. God, we think the world of you. Same thing with you,
Johnny. Bananas.
Bree, you've taken up a nice slack for us here. Also, thanks to John Larkin. And, of course, thank you always to Tony. What I'd like you all to do is to give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you, okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel, and they're off into the sunset. Hopefully they'll be back again tomorrow night. Maybe you'll join us as well. In the meantime, the next show right after us is The Intersection with Jack Bishop. It's called The Intersection, and they will be taking calls via Skype. The Skype handle being GabNet live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time. Yep, and the same station in life in the meantime. As always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And everybody, wear a mask, will you please? Be safe out there.